Hello students, welcome to the lecture on data mining, and after this lecture we will be able to learn the following objectives. Explain concept of mining, understand data mining and data warehousing, discuss data mining models, describe the customer care and relationship marketing, define steps in establishing a customer care program and marketing process, discuss relationship and transactional marketing compared and contrasted. Let's start with a brief introduction to data mining. Data mining uses a relatively large amount of computing power operating on a large set of data to determine regularities and connections between data points. Algorithms that employ techniques from statistic machine learning and pattern recognition are used to search large databases automatically. Data mining is also known as knowledge discovery in databases, KDD. Data miners are statisticians who use techniques with names like neighbor models, K-means clustering, hold-out method, K-fold, cross-validation, the leave-one-out method, and so on. Regression techniques are used to subtract irrelevant patterns, leaving only useful information. The term Bayesian is seen frequently in the field, referring to a class of inference technique that predict the likelihood of future events by combining prior probabilities and probabilities based on conditional events. Spam filtering is arguably a form of data mining which automatically brings relevant messages to the surface from a chaotic sea of phishing attempts and Viagra pitches.
Hello, my name is Paul. Today's top story, data mining. We have guest from YouTube. He is the one of the three founders. He is Chad Hurley. Hello Paul, thanks for having me today. Okay, my first question is, what is data mining? Well, data mining is essentially a way for us to gather data from each users and analyze them and give feedback to the users. We get data different ways, such as from their account, subscriptions, their favorite videos, and many more. So, what would you look for in the accounts page? We will look at their interest, location, so example, a user like football. When the data mining tool looks at that data, it will then give suggestion to the user, sending video links of highlights of a particular football match. So, how are you making revenue? Well, we have allowed users to connect their AdSense accounts with their YouTube account and also allowing other industries to post adverts on YouTube. If you look at the video page, there are advertisements on the page, and usually the adverts are related to the content the videos. So, do you gather information on the viewership of YouTube videos, and what do you look for? Yes, of course, it is very essential that we do that. We would compare them by how many channels gets viewed in each month, and see which channels are failing to attract viewers to their channels. Now, do you give recommendations to the users? Sure, yeah. When a user goes onto the subscriptions page, on the right side of the page, gives recommendation of channels the user could subscribe to. Again, to choose which channels we recommend to the user, we look at which channels the user has subscribed to already in the user's history. Example, a user watches the Google channel but has not yet subscribed, so we would recommend that channel to the user. Amazing. I hope you the very best and thank you for coming to our show.
Let us now discuss concept mining. Concept mining is a process that focuses on extracting ideas and concepts found in documents. The approach is somewhat similar to text mining, with the main difference being that mining a text focuses on the extraction of information rather than ideas. Concept mining is helpful in a number of applications, including the evaluation of software programs and in various applications that are generally classified as part of the artificial intelligence discipline within computer science. The use of mining can take place with any type of documents, regardless of how they are formatted. This is in contrast to extracting specific text, especially if the words included in the extracted section could take on different meanings based on the context of the usage. Since concept mining is considering the entire text as a whole, the ability to glean intent and meaning based on the overall flow of the document increases. The foundation of data mining. Data mining techniques are the result of a long process of research and product development. This evolution began when business data was first stored on computers, continued with improvement in data access, and more recently generated technologies that allow users to navigate through their data in real time. Data mining takes this evolutionary process beyond retrospective data access and navigation to prospective and proactive information delivery. Scope of data mining. Data mining derives its name from the similarities between searching for valuable business information in a large database, for example, finding linked products in gigabytes of store scanner data, mining a mountain for a vein of valuable ore. Databases can be larger in both depth and breadth. More columns. Analysts must often limit the number of variables they examine when doing hands-on analysis due to time constraints. Yet variables that are discarded because they seem unimportant may carry information about unknown patterns. High-performance data mining allows users to explore the full depth of a database without pre-selecting a subset of variables. More rows, larger samples yield lower estimation, errors and variance, and allow users to make inferences about small but important segments of a population. The most commonly used technique in data mining are artificial neural networks, nonlinear predictive models that learn through training and resemble biological neural networks in structure, decision trees, tree-shaped structures that represent sets of decisions. These decisions generate rules for the classification of a data set. Specific decision tree methods include classification and regression trees, CART, and chi-square automatic interaction detection, CHAID. Genetic algorithms. Optimization techniques that use processes such as genetic combination, mutation, and natural selection in a design based on the concepts of evolution. Nearest neighbor method. A technique that classifies each record in a data set based on a combination of the classes of the K records most similar to it in a historical data set, sometimes called the K nearest neighbor technique. Function of data mining. Identify the best prospect and then retain them as customers. Predict cross-sell opportunities and make recommendation. Learn parameters influencing trends in sales and margins. Segment markets and personalized communication. Identify which transactions are most likely to be fraudulent. Now moving on to the next topic, we will study data mining and data warehousing. Frequently, the data to be mined is first extracted from an enterprise data warehouse into a data mining database or data mart. There is some real benefit if data is already part of a data warehouse. The problems of cleansing data for a data warehouse and for data mining are very similar. If the data has already been cleansed for a data warehouse, then it most likely will not need further cleaning in order to be mined. A data warehouse is not a requirement for data mining. Setting up a large data warehouse that consolidates data from multiple sources, resolves data integrity problems, and loads the data into a query. Database can be an enormous task, sometimes taking years and costing millions of dollars. We could, however, mine data from one or more operational or transactional databases by simply extracting it into a read-only database. This new database functions as a type of data mart.
Hi, I'm Jared Hillam. Often I'm placed into situations where I need to explain the role of a data warehouse and how an organization can benefit from its use. So to answer this, I'm going to share some common scenarios or problems that we see data warehouses addressing. First, let's talk about where your data is being stored. If you trace your data back to the moment that it got created, you're likely to find a person in your organization putting that data in, whether it's an accountant or a sales rep or even a line worker. Those applications that those people are using are specifically designed to take in one record at a time. Now, when you need to know how you performed last quarter, you need the application to cough up a lot of data, possibly millions of rows. If you made that request during the middle of the day, chances are you'd cause all the users of the application to get something like this. And even if you were able to ask for those millions of rows, you might as well go and take the day off to let it process. Remember, these application databases are designed to take in one row of data at a time, not to cough up millions of rows. Second, nearly every organization has more than one data source. There are accounting systems, operations systems, sales management systems, and the list goes on and on. But if you zoom back, wouldn't you agree that all these systems work towards a common cause? I mean, doesn't the body of these systems represent a collective goal, strategy, or mission statement? But in practice, without integrating this data, you essentially have a series of organizational silos. And producing meaningful correlations between these silos is not only inefficient, but as you'll see in this presentation, full of one-off mistakes. That brings us to our third point, and that is, you're doing it anyway. If you think about it, because these systems do represent an organization with a single goal or mission statement, somebody in the organization is having to play the role of bringing this information together when the data needs to be refreshed. And sometimes this somebody is more often an army of siloed employees. This is a good time to reinforce our second point. This army of siloed employees bringing data together for their own purposes doesn't just end there. This is the information that's getting bubbled up to management and leads to those infamous meetings where nothing gets done because everybody has their own version of the truth. So you can start to see that a data warehouse is really a way for the organization to accurately identify itself, not as a series of independent silos, but more as a cohesive operation. Additionally, you'll notice that data warehouses have centralized logic, which reduces the need for manual data integration. This gives that army of siloed employees the answers they need without each one inventing their own way of gathering the data. In turn, management comes to meetings ready to address problems because they can agree on what the data is saying. Intricity specializes in the implementation of data warehouses. I encourage you to visit Intricity's website and speak with one of our specialists. Furthermore, if you're looking for a trusted service partner, I recommend that you speak with Intricity's customers. A high percentage of Intricity's data warehousing practice is generated through their enthusiastic endorsements.
Data mining and OLAP. One of the most common questions from data processing professionals is about the difference between data mining and OLAP, online analytical processing. As we shall see, there are very different tools that can complement each other. The OLAP is part of the spectrum of decision support tools. Traditional query and report tools describe what is in a database. OLAP goes further. It is used to answer why certain things are true. The user forms a hypothesis about a relationship and verifies it with a series of queries against the data. Data mining, machine learning, and statistics. Data mining takes advantage of advances in the fields of artificial intelligence, AI, and statistics. Both disciplines have been working on problems of pattern recognition and classification. Both communities have made great contributions to the understanding and application of neural nets and decision trees. Data mining does not replace traditional statistical technique. Rather, it is an extension of statistical method that is in part the result of a major change in the statistic community. Reason for the growing popularity of data mining. Reason for the growing popularity of data mining are defined as limitation of human analysis. Two other problems that surface when human analysts process data are inadequacy of the human brain when searching for complex multi-factor dependencies in data and the lack of objectiveness in such an analysis. Low cost of machine learning. One additional benefit of using automated data mining system is that this process has a much lower cost. Let's know the types of data mining models. There are different types of models. Verification model. The verification model takes a hypothesis from the user and tests the validity of it against the data. The emphasis is with the user, who is responsible for formulating the hypothesis and issuing the query on the data to affirm or negate the hypothesis. In a marketing division, for example, with a limited budget for a mailing campaign to launch a new product, it is important to identify the section of the population most likely to buy the new product. Discovery model. The discovery model differs in its emphasis in that it is the system automatically discovering important information hidden in the data. The data is sifted in search of frequency occurring patterns, trends, and generalization about the data without intervention guidance from the user. Data mining process model. The data mining process model described below is derived from the two crows process model. The basic steps of data mining for knowledge discovery are: define business problem, build data mining database. Define the business problem. First and foremost, the prerequisite to knowledge discovery understands data and business. Without this understanding, no algorithm is going to provide with a result in which we should have confidence. Build a data mining database. This step constitutes the core of data preparation. Almost certainly, we will be modifying the data from the data warehouse. Data mining problems. Data mining systems rely on databases to supply the raw data for input, and this raises problems in that databases tend to be dynamic, incomplete, noisy, and large. Limited information. A database is often designed for a purpose different from data mining, and sometimes the properties or attributes that would simplify the learning tasks are not present, nor can they be requested from the real world. Noise and missing values. Databases are usually contaminated by errors, so it cannot be assumed that the data they contain is entirely correct. Data analysis. Data analysis is a practice in which raw data is ordered and organized so that useful information can be extracted from it. The process of organizing and thinking about data is to key understanding what the data does and does not contain. Let us now discuss about customer care and relationship marketing. Among the most significant changes in recent years have been the interlinked developments of an increased emphasis on customer care activities coupled with the growth of relationship marketing. Customer care. We have seen that the marketing concept centers on the importance of customers and the absolute necessity of identifying and satisfying the needs and wants. The marketer puts the customer at the center of the business and the development of organizational strategies. Meaning and scope of customer care. Amongst the many views of the meaning and scope of customer care, the view taken here is that it involves planning all the activities involved in the customer-supplier relationship, including pre, during, and post-transaction stages to ensure that customer expectations are met or exceeded. Cost of poor customer care. It is increasingly recognized that should customer expectation at any point in the supplier or customer relationship not be met, this will result in customer dissatisfaction. Benefits of good customer care. We know that satisfied customers are more likely to return to buy again and over time become loyal. This illustrates just one of the links between customer care and RM. This is particularly important when we look at the cost of acquiring customers compared to keeping them. Customer expectation. Perhaps a major reason for the growth in importance of customer care is the fact that customer expectations have changed over the years, both in organizational and consumer contents.
In this webinar, we'll talk about some core principles of customer care. I just want to distinguish this from the concept of skills. There are some essential skills that should be demonstrated by anyone in a frontline customer care position, and Impact Learning Systems certainly has a lot of information to offer you in that arena. But for now, let's focus on some key principles that are relevant to anyone who manages or trains a customer care team, as well as to the customer care representatives themselves. After each principle, I'll introduce some relevant questions for you to reflect on. The aim is to help you assess whether or not this principle is being put into practice in your own organization. Let's take a look. The first principle is that to customers, frontline representatives are the company. Customers don't usually know or see what goes on behind the scenes, so their impression of your organization stems from what we call customer touch points. These customer touch points occur anytime a customer comes in contact with your company and uses that experience to form an impression of your organization. Frontline employees, whether they're communicating face-to-face, on the telephone, or via email, are in direct and constant communication with your customers. An investment in the skills and knowledge of these employees is very much an investment in the customer experience. To ensure that these customer touchpoints are leaving a favorable impression, here are a few questions for you to consider. Do frontline employees view themselves as ambassadors of the organization? Are they trained in communication skills? Are they empowered to do the needful, within reason, for customers? Are you aware of the various customer touchpoints that occur in your organization? Let's move on to the next principle. Studies have shown that a strong link exists between employees' job satisfaction and the quality of customer service those employees provide. Really no surprise there. Customer care, whether that means selling shoes or fixing servers, is an intrinsically rewarding profession. Simply put, it feels good to be of service to someone, to make something good happen to another person. This is the kind of attitude that motivates employees to create a strong culture of customer care, but it doesn't typically happen unless the employees themselves feel valued by their company and satisfied with their jobs. It may sound obvious, but it's worth noting. If employees aren't satisfied on the job, they're usually not motivated to demonstrate a high level of customer care. At best, they'll do just enough to get by. Let's review some key questions to ask yourself about employee satisfaction at your organization. What is the turnover rate for your customer-facing employees? How do you measure employee satisfaction and motivation? When employee satisfaction is low, what do you do about it? Do performance issues in your organization stem from an employee's attitude or from his or her skill level? Your answers to these questions will tell you a lot about what's needed in order to build a culture of strong customer care. The third key principle of customer care is to show customers that they're valued by your company. Many organizations make the mistake of assuming that customers know this. Of course, the most important aspect of showing customers that they're valued is to take care of their need or request in a timely, efficient, and correct manner. At each and every customer touchpoint, maintain a mindset of earning the business and trust of customers. Never take it for granted. But customers have needs that go beyond the transaction. They want to be appreciated and respected. They want to feel that your company's customer care philosophy is just that, care. So it doesn't hurt to tell them directly. Before ending a call or a face-to-face visit, employees should take a moment to tell the customer that their business is appreciated. It can go a long way. Here are 3 questions to keep in mind. If you were a customer of your organization, would you feel valued? When closing a call or another type of customer transaction, are employees expected to thank customers for their business? Do customer-facing employees understand the importance of earning a customer's trust and loyalty on an ongoing basis? The good news is, putting this principle into action is usually a pretty simple step. All too often, companies place a strong emphasis on external customer care while losing sight of the fact that internal customers matter just as much. Why? Because somewhere down the line, the service you provide to an internal customer will show up in an external customer transaction. An internal customer is any employee who depends on the timing, quality, and accuracy of your work in order for them to succeed in their own work. What I've seen is that those organizations in which a customer care culture is truly embedded do not make distinctions about internal and external care. Each employee's mission is simply to demonstrate excellence with each and every task. To help you assess the level of internal customer service in your organization, ask yourself the following questions. Do your employees know who their internal customers are? Are employees measured on the service they provide to internal customers? Do they recognize that everyone in the organization is a service provider? If you feel that you might need work in any of these areas, the next principle can help. You can't expect people to perform to expectations until you've given them the knowledge and skills to do just that. If you're serious about embracing a culture of customer care, you need to educate employees as to what this notion looks like on the job. It shouldn't be taken for granted that employees know what goes into good customer service, internal or external. They may have some good instincts, and they may each take certain measures that they personally feel will provide good service. But this hopeful and hodgepodge approach isn't enough. Providing them training in both your company's customer care philosophy and in their job-specific service skills is a huge and all-important step. Once employees have been trained, it's essential for them to be held accountable for putting the skills into practice on the job. This, of course, means strong and consistent coaching on an ongoing basis. Finally, once you've trained employees and held them accountable for putting their training into practice on the job, be sure to reward them for their success.
Relationship marketing. Another major development in marketing thinking and practice in recent years has been the growth of relationship marketing (RM). We emphasize that RM is very much linked with the notion and practice of customer care.
What makes someone a one? An individual? Unique? Special? When everyone has a different story to tell, no one is the same as the next. Each one with different hopes, dreams, and aspirations. Investing in knowing these people has been a long journey, and gaining loyalty with anyone is hard-earned. So why do we treat these people we should know like strangers, when our relationship with them is the only reason we do what we do? You know that one message, at that one time, to that one person. It can change all their hopes, dreams, and aspirations. It all starts by knowing your customers. Market as if you only have one.
Let us now move further. There are clear benefits of having an effective customer care program. Mere acceptance of this is not sufficient to ensure effective customer care. Incorporating our customer care philosophy into company mission statements. The first and most important step in establishing a customer care program is to ensure that a commitment to customer care is enshrined in the corporate mission statement. By so doing, a company has taken the first step in a commitment to customer care. Moreover, being the mission statement, this commitment can be seen to come from the top. This should serve to form and guide a customer care culture and philosophy throughout the organization. Establishing a customer care culture and philosophy. Effective customer care is not something that can be left solely to marketing and sales departments. Customer care is everyone's business. In the same way as adoption of the marketing concept necessitates a cultural change within many organizations, so too does the adoption of the customer care concept. However, instilling this philosophy is not easy. As with the marketing concept, customer care is often seen as being someone else's responsibility. Adopting a customer care philosophy starts at the top and must have the full support and commitment of senior management. Identifying customer needs and perceptions. As with all marketing programs, the start point of effective customer care is the identification of customer needs. Customer care is about ensuring these needs are met, and in particular that customer expectations are fulfilled or exceeded. Many companies still do not appreciate what their customers' needs and expectations are with regard to various facets of the transaction process. For example, most new car customers want a full tank of fuel when they collect their new cars. In spite of this, even some of the most expensive new cars have only enough fuel in them to reach the first filling station. Establishing customer care standards and specification. This step in the process involves a company establishing specific levels for customer care and the key activities and processes to be included. These must relate to customers' expectation and needs established in the first step. For example, we need to establish delivery standards, standards for customer responsiveness, courtesy and credibility, and product quality. Every facet of the company that may impinge on customer satisfaction needs to be incorporated here. Not just marketing activities, specific standards for customer care that can be measured and evaluated need to be established at this stage. Although customer care programs should meet the highest level of standards in line with customer expectation, it is important to establish a basic minimum level below which levels of customer care should not drop under any circumstances. Again, regular surveys and feedback from customers are essential. Consumer panels which allow for such regular feedback from customers are useful. In addition, the marketer should consult dealer and other intermediaries on a regular basis for their views. Let us now move to the next topic, customer care and marketing process. Where commitment to customer care becomes part of a company's philosophy, we find that customer care impinges on the whole of the marketing process. This notion can most easily be seen by returning to the typical steps in the marketing planning. We can see from this how a company-wide philosophy and commitment to customer care affects the whole marketing process. Each of the steps in the marketing planning process, together with an outline of how customer care relates to each of these steps, is now outlined. Corporate objectives or business mission. Commitment to customer care should be reflected and enshrined in the overall corporate objectives and mission statements of the organization. At this stage, mission statements about overall customer care objectives feed into and shape the subsequent stages and strategies of the marketing plan. Marketing objectives and strategies. Marketing objectives and strategies should include customer care elements. Overall marketing objectives may relate to, for example, growth and market share, but should also include specific objectives with regard to levels of customer care. Again, tools such as gap analysis can be used. Well, RM first became evident in B2B marketing, but this approach is now evident in the services sector and in consumer marketing. Conventional transactional marketing, based on the notion of mutual exchange, is where the seller offers immediate and hopefully attractive combination of product, price and technical support to generate a sale. Emphasis, albeit implicitly, is on completing this individual transaction. In turn, this completion of the transaction is a measure of success of the exchange. The marketer then moves to consider the next order the customer might place and attempts to generate another individual transaction. Reason for the growth of relationship marketing. The well-established notion of exchange and interaction in marketing provide the theoretical antecedents for the emergence of RM. RM would not have increased if there were no benefits for the customer. Again, in the case of B2B customers, these benefits are readily identified and easier to communicate as they are principally financial in nature. Example, for the manufacturing customer, developing effective relationships with suppliers enables more cost-effective systems of purchasing to be put in place if production operates a just-in-time JIT lean manufacturing system. Through RM, companies are able to develop collaborative ventures with customers or suppliers with regard to developing new products. Clearly, JIT and collaborative new products development require long-term relationship between customers and marketers. Now, in the end, let us summarize what we have learned in this lecture. Data mining techniques are the result of a long process of research and product development. Data mining systems rely on databases to supply the raw data for input, and this raises problems in that databases tend to be dynamic, incomplete, noisy and large. RM first became evident in B2B marketing, but this approach is now evident in the services sector and in consumer marketing. Related to required standards and specification for customer care, there needs to be detailed specification of what this means for people's activities and jobs within the organization. The discovery model differs in its emphasis in that it is a system automatically discovering important information hidden in the data. The verification model takes a hypothesis from the user and tests the validity of it against the data.